Good morning, George.
Good morning, John. So
It's a
good to be
pleasure.
with you today.
Well, it's nice to meet an old American from the war. Yeah, no, we were brothers in arms, weren't we?
Thank you. We sure were, including the landing
Well,
fields.
whatever, we were part and parcel of what went on, weren't we? I understand you were in the Battle of the Bulge, George.
Yes, I was.
Perhaps you could enlighten me more about it. I'm
well-
a sailor. I don't know much about the land battles, but what I've heard, it was a hell of a place to be.
It was a hell of a place to be, and I think of it as the critical moment in World War II because this was a counteroffensive by the Wehrmacht, and if we lost that one, they would have gone to the sea in the north and been able to encircle all the Allied forces.
Yeah.
So this was the one that counted the most,
Yeah.
and that we think the most critical. I was going to say that
It lasted a long time, didn't it?
Sir.
It lasted a long time.
Well, the actual critical moment, the Battle of the Bulge, was from December 16 to January.
It was a bad winter, wasn't it?
Exactly.
And
yes.
you were bogged down in mud, everything.
Yeah, and cold,
Oh,
freezing. You know, I want to say that I did not serve in a fighting unit. I was in a medical corps.
oh, you were medical. I did see all the bad things then, wouldn't you?
We were like a field hospital, you know. We were right behind the lines.
Yeah. Patch them up if you could. Patch them up if you could. And send them back in.
Exactly.
Or they go away.
That's it,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the
Yeah.
triage.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this, that from December, as I say, 16 or 17 to January 16, 17, our unit admitted in our tent hospital 10,000. Yeah, many of them just frozen and
Yeah.
but 10,780. And as I say, a large number were for freezing.
Freezing,
Yes, for frostbite.
Frostbite.
Yes, yeah. The weather, which took such a toll. It was supposed to be a record year for freezing, and that slowed down both the Allied and the German forces. But what for me was the most, shall we say, visible and actual experience was first with the discovery of penicillin. That saved so many lives, and even though it wasn't even the pure product, I was involved with one of the teams that were there to inject penicillin to severely wounded guys. The bottom line was that the penicillin was still in a developmental stage. This was early, and in order to get the full effect of it, we had to inject them every 12 hours. So it was at noon and the middle of the night, at midnight, that we really were giving the second shot in order to get the full effect of it, you know. That was the second thing was, of course, the advances in blood substitutes, plasma, and that saved untold numbers of lives.
Well, yeah.
And the third, if I may say, the third thing was the actual evacuation. We were able to rush people into ambulances and get them into a plane and ending up in yeah. I had one pretty severely wounded guy, and when I came around in the middle of the night to give him another shot, he was smiling, and I couldn't understand why he was so happy, And he then explained to me that all of his life he had a carbuncle on his neck. And this was about the fifth day in with penicillin, and it had been cleared up, and that was a miracle, The most severe injuries occurred just before the Battle of Bulge in the northeastern part of France, in a place called Pont-à-Mousson. And it was a bridge area.
Oh, yeah.
And the Wehrmacht was so strategic advantage. They had such a strategic advantage.
Well, they had the advantage of being able to set up to wait for you coming, didn't they?
You're putting your finger right on it. That's exactly. And so every night for 10 nights in September, General Patchen ordered an assault on this position, because ultimately this was an approach to the Rhine, and that was a very critical area. So every night, by midnight, we had torn bodies coming in, and that's where I remember seeing the first of 3 brain dead people. A horrifying experience, and other torn bodies.
Well, yeah.
On the very last day, when the war ended in Europe, we were strafed by a Wehrmacht pilot who refused to comply with the surrender.
There was a few of them.
And these young pilots were products of the Hitlerjugend.
Yeah, the Nazi.
And they could not accept losing the war, They strafed my
wherever you were.
Evacuation hospital on the last day of the war.
That's typical.
And our anti-aircraft brought this pilot down.
Good.
And when he came to the ground, he was so broken up that we had to put him in a full body cast so he couldn't move. We saved him.
Did you?
But he was all... Yes. And as he lay there, and I came over because I translated German.
Oh, yeah.
And this was one of the special, shall we say, additional skills that I had. So when it came to a wounded soldier I was able to translate. So when I came, he was lying there prone, and this was 3 or 4 hours after he came out of anesthesia, and I bent over and I said, "Haben Sie Schmerzen? Are you having pain?" Or "Wo haben Sie Schmerzen?" And he spit in my face.
Did he? Oh, that's typical of him, isn't it?
So that was my, shall we say?
That was your tank studio.
That was the most, shall we say, dramatic expression of Nazi
when
propaganda.
you think of it.
Yeah.
Like.
But all the older men, that was the Hitlerjugend,
Yeah.
but the older Germans who were prisoners were so grateful to be in
safe,
Allied
yeah,
hands,
yeah.
and they were looking forward
I
to
had heard that. Yeah.
going to Britain or to the States,
Yeah.
and
And
the war was over for them. Some of them had been on the Eastern Front. They were lucky to have survived the
that
Russian.
one, yeah.
Yeah. After the war, I was so affected by my service
Yeah.
and the destruction and devastation that I witnessed that I gave up my original career path, which was to be a physician.
I see.
And I got more involved in international affairs and trying to make the world a safer and a better place, as you know. And at one point, after I went through my federal career and international management consulting and so on, I thought I was going to retire. I was then almost 90, and instead, I was so angry and so frustrated that Memorial Day, which honored the many thousands of people whom I saw.
You have Memorial Day, do you?
Yes, and I so determined, and Victoria, my wife, was very much involved in this, to establish a new organization in New York called the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Association. And about 24 very reputable civic and veterans organizations became members of this not-for-profit organization. And we restored the faith and the importance of Memorial Day. It was a very serious business.
Yeah.
The mayor of the city of New York couldn't wait to be, he was one of the first people to arrive and to appear on the...
No way.
And I think that played a very important part, as well as the most unexpected part, which was just a month or so before we came on board here. They finally approved a huge sum of money, $62 million, to restore the city's most important monument in honoring those who gave their lives. And that was I was dedicated to that for the rest of my life. Yes.